Hello.
Doing it. We are back, people.
5 months late.
It probably is about 5 months. But there's a reason we're back today. There's a reason we're back today on the 9th of June.
Yes, we're doing this on the 9th of June. With just thought it was, obviously it's very apt timing. Go on then, Bob, you tell us why it's apt timing, why it's good timing.
Today is the release of the new Extreme album, a band which is very dear to both of us, massive influence on both of us.
Yeah.
And they have a brand new album called Six. Not a very original title.
No.
But
Is it the fifth one?
which is the first album in, is it 15 years?
It is indeed, yeah.
That is insane. That on alone is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, after I never knew how to pronounce last. Was it Sorde de Rock or something?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got a confession to make, Bob.
Okay.
I ain't got that one.
And you?
It just passed me by a bit. So I was going through my CDs this morning, right? I've only got 2 albums on CD.
Wow. Right. Okay.
My self-titled and my Porno Graffiti are both on cassette tape, and for some reason I've never got around to buying them on CD again.
Right.
I don't know why. Something I need to rectify.
Interesting.
And then after I thought in advance, my dad's actually got all my cassettes in his roof, and I was there yesterday. I should have got it, shouldn't I? Got them. But yeah, so I've realised it's call myself a fan. I need to get those 2 on CD.
Be interested to know how many people watching the whole thing, how much people know about Extreme, as in they do think they're just that More Than Words band.
I'm going to say that's what people will know. If you're a casual listener, you'll probably know More Than Words and Get the Funk Out, won't you?
Be surprised if many people know Get the Funk Out.
You think?
Yeah.
You think? I think that was a relative.
Well, rock fans will know.
Rock fans will know it. Yeah. So,
throw it right back. How did you hear about them for the very first time?
That's just what I was going to ask you. Probably, I was thinking about this earlier. Probably either Raw magazine or Raw Power. Seeing something, I would imagine. You see, I don't know about you, but I got into them at Porno Graffiti.
Yeah.
And then got the first album. Because when did Extreme come out? 89. So, yeah. I was in it, but I don't know. I think I didn't own I owned the second album before the first one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I'm sure you did the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite appropriately, I should have got this ready beforehand, but I've just thought about this now. On how I first got introduced with them. Bear with 2 seconds. I should be able to stretch without pulling my headphones out.
All right. Keep professional. You got it. We don't want this video going on great fails, Bob, if you fall off your chair.
Well, this weekend is not only the new Extreme albums out today, but it's download weekend.
Yes.
Or as many people of us know, with Monsters of Rock.
Yeah.
And so the first time I heard about Extreme was on this, which was volume 10 of Hard and Heavy.
Hard and Heavy, all right.
And I got this
Blimey.
because it was all about the 1990 Donington Monsters of Rock, where Poison played. And obviously I was in full-on Poison mode.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it shows you on this one. Where is it? You know what? I'm getting older and my eyesight is
terrible. You have to hold it miles away from you.
Terrible. Where is it?
I remember those videos.
I've got all of them.
You got all of them?
It's one thing I did. I thought, it'd be cool to have all of these.
Yeah.
And I've got all of them. I think there's 15 in total I found out. Then there's a couple of bonus ones. But yeah, right on the back of this, no one's going to be able to see it, but interviews. And the last band there, it says Extreme on Sex. So we had interviews with Queensryche, Living Colour, Jane's Addiction, Vixen, Striper, Suicidal Tendencies, and then Extreme.
Right.
And there was an interview with the band, and it played a bit of Decadence Dance.
Right.
And I was in. I thought Pat Badger looked like the coolest dude ever.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and then the next thing we heard about him, I think. Oh, I know. Top knew somebody who had Sky Telly, and they record. Our friend Paul Turner. He knew I think it was his auntie or something. She had Sky, so she recorded him a episode of Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
And on that was Get the Funk Out.
Right.
It's like, oh, that band which you played, we've got a new song. And I can remember seeing that Get the Funk Out video and thought it was, if I thought it was cool before, that just stepped it up to the next level. Because not as one of the greatest rock songs ever, but I think it's one of the coolest performance videos ever, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if it must have been, I saw the video you said about Decadence Dance. I must have seen that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much. I'm getting on now, Bob. I can't remember. I'm not as cool as you ever in the video, Tan, that you can just go and get and remember it. But,
whether that's cool, I don't know.
You see, back in those days, I would say I was more Raw was going then, wouldn't it? It must have been.
Raw magazine was,
Yeah, I would have bought that more than Kerrang.
I used to prefer Raw over Kerrang.
You know why? Because I always thought that Kerrang, to me, seemed like denim-clad Iron Maiden type stuff. Yeah. There was some. I don't know. Maybe Raw covered the stuff more, and then obviously you're buying.
Raw was more likely to have Skid Row on the cover.
Yeah.
Kerrang was.
Exactly. And then you're buying that, and you go in Smith's or whatever shop you went in, and you could see I don't know, the American magazines the Hit Parade, all those things that also were covering those bands at the time. But I'm sure I would be pretty certain I'll maybe have heard them first or seen about them either on Raw or Raw Power.
Yeah. What attracted you to them?
Oh, Nuno.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I don't know really because they weren't the kind of band I was listening to at the time. First off, the singer didn't have blonde hair.
Yeah, but the 1990. Yeah, I suppose. Like you, you're quite right. It's still been 1990. Would have still been full on Poison, wouldn't it, for us?
Yeah.
Full on Warrant, full on. Yeah. So, no, I think it was Nuno because I probably thought, again, sort of looking back in my mind, he's a cut above.
Yeah. Because interestingly,
he's better than Richie Sambora, so he must be good. That's probably what I thought.
Because interestingly, I wasn't into Van Halen at this point. Extrema, the band, kind of.
No, I don't think I was. Yeah.
Partially responsible for getting me into Van Halen because they always say, "Listen to your favorite bands."
Yeah.
And I read so many interviews, especially with Nuno, talking about Fair Warning by Van Halen, and like songs like "And the Cradle Will Rock." It's like, what are these songs? I've never heard of them.
Have
before.
you seen Nuno's done it? Well, he's done a lot of interviews over the last few weeks. One of them, I think he'd been asked, "Are you the heir to Eddie?" And he said, "There's no heir to Eddie."
Mm-hmm. He says that in that Rick Beato interview.
Is that what it's in?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I haven't watched it all yet. In fact, I watched the very first start and then I got distracted. I will watch it.
Oh, it's fantastic. 2 hours of gold. And you see an interview for 2 hours and you think, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah,
Rick Beato hardly has to say anything.
Longer than one of our videos.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I read somewhere that it was for about 5 hours, the actual chat was, and they had to cut it down that much.
So, Nuno, 100%. Which then, and I'll put a picture of this up, and I've talked about this before, led me on, I've got to have Nuno's guitar. So, I'm not sure if the N4 was already out and they bought the N2 out, or if I think they might have been released together. Well, there was no way I could afford an N4.
Yeah.
So, they did this cheaper N2 model, which I think they still do.
Can you remember the prices back then?
It would have seemed like a lot of money to me still.
Yeah. But what was the difference between the N2 and the M4, as in price-wise?
Better built, better pickups at the time, better because mine. I've also said this before. Mine was a prototype.
Yes,
I remember. I got it from. I can't remember whether it was Carlsborough Academy of Sound in Nottingham at the time, and they said when it came in. So the pickups in mine weren't the same as what was in them when they were available a bit later on. The pickups in mine looked like EMGs. Right. They weren't EMGs, but they got that plain cover. AMG pickups that a lot of the metal players use. They don't have any pole pieces on the pickup. And then Nuno, the M4 is well known for this thing. God, I'm getting geeky now. Called a Stevens Extended Cutaway. which was basically
that was the selling point.
Yeah, yeah, it's the way
even I know what that was.
Yeah, to get sorry, Bob. Yeah. I'm patronising now. To get I'm not.
I had no idea what you're talking about with the pickles, but I knew what that cut out.
To get I don't know why I'm doing this. To get the heel of the guitar out of the way. Well, so on the M4, where the neck, why have I not got a guitar? I'm playing guitar, why have I not? But where the neck joins the body, there was a different coloured piece of wood in an arch around the top cutaway that said Stevens Extender Cutaway, right? On mine, there was a pen line, a Nuno signature.
Wow.
Right? And then the wood was a different colour. I can't remember. It was stained, but it must have been older. So the guys in the shop said they'd seen some others, and mine didn't look like that. And I'm pretty certain, I don't think it was BS, but mine was the first one in the country.
Mate, you're killing me with this story. And
then I sold it for about 200 quid, you know, the usual thing. Yeah.
This and your Van Halen guitar, dude.
And please don't tell me. Yeah. I saw an Instagram video. Somebody I follow came up to me and said, I always wanted to get this Van Halen tone because Eddie later on used 3 amps, a dry one, a wet one, and then another one with something else in it. And he said, I always wanted a Ernie Bourne Music Man. I thought, I had one of them. You know, and I sold it for a stupid amount of money. But this N2, I mean, I'm not saying it would be worth any more money now for those reasons, but it probably would have been.
Though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put a picture of it up. But I loved it because I don't know whether you know this or not, but when Nuno first before it was what he actually had the guitar built by a Washburn, I think the first one was like a parts guitar.
Okay.
Right. And I think he took a Strat type body and made it slightly smaller. So he shaved a bit off it. And it's got a very slight sort of squareness to the edges of it. It's hard to explain. So it doesn't look like a normal Strat body. They're slightly downsized. So I didn't appreciate that. And I remember when I got this guitar and I thought, wow, that's so cool. And it felt so good to play it. You see, before that guitar, I was playing, look how enthusiastic I'm getting about this. I was playing a white Aria Pro 2 pointy headstock guitar.
Yeah.
Like a Super Strat it wasn't a Floyd, but a locking trem, and it had got a pointy headstock like a Kramer.
Yeah.
And I'd just grown out of it a little bit. The day before, I traded that in for this, because I ordered this N2. I think that's why I got the first one, because I must have got in there first from the distributor. So the day before, my dad took me to go and trade this guitar in. We'd spoke to him and I'd ordered it. We'd trade my white A-Rit in. I'd been playing it and I put it on the bed. And I can remember this vividly. I went downstairs, I heard a thud, came back up, and this guitar dropped off the bed.
Right.
And it broke a chunk. It was a pointy headstock.
Yeah.
It broke a chunk off the headstock, off the top side where the six-string tuner was. Well, I was distraught, mate. I said to me, I'd only got a very certain amount of money that I'd saved up. I said to my dad, I was so upset. I said, they're not gonna take it now. They're only gonna give me like 50 quid, and we need 100 or something. So my dad, I think at the time, relatively calmly, he won't remember. He did his dad thing, because my dad's very handy, and got his tools out, and he glued this bit back on, clamped it up.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back now, you could probably see the glue or something. Anyway, took it in the shot, and he said, "Don't say anything."
Mm-hmm.
But I said it, and they said, "Oh, don't worry about that." God for that. So I don't think the Nuno guitar came in a case, but I think we bought one. I can remember it was a funny colour. But yeah, when they bought this guitar out, I was just like, wow. And it didn't bother me that it got this strange, like, drawn-on curve with Nuno signature. I probably thought that was cooler. Yeah, so I think...
Had you learnt much of Nuno's stuff at that point?
I'd got the Pornograffiti book
in
the days... Would you believe that you couldn't, people don't believe it so much now, do they? My young students, you go and buy a book with it all
I've got it down here, brother. I can see it.
Have you still got it?
Yeah, I can see it.
I haven't got mine anymore.
I've got that and the 3 sides
Yeah, I had that as well. Yeah. And I think I had the one for Waiting for the Punchline as well.
Oh, wow. I never got that one.
Yeah, I got the Porno Graffiti book. I wasn't good enough to play a lot of the solos at that time. But
you was just learning the riffs. I used to learn When I'm President riff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So probably my favourite one was Cooper's Dead.
Yeah. I
love that riff so much. But yeah, I learned the riffs to, Get the Funk Out and Decadence Dance and whatever.
I'll wind you up. I'll do a quick wind up for you. Have you seen the video where Nuno meets Ed Sheeran?
Unfortunately, bits of it, yeah.
Have you seen that one where Ed Sheeran starts playing Cupid's Death?
Yes, I knew I knew that was going to come up somewhere. Yeah. Let's gloss over that. Yeah.
But that's pretty cool, though, I think.
I know.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm surprised he can play any further up than the first three. But anyway, there we go.
Coming in hot. Boom.
Yeah. There we go. But, yeah, so that guitar, I mean, you know what I've told you about the Van Halen guitar.
Yeah.
But now I'm talking about it. Why sell that when it was clearly something, But I think I sold that to buy the EVH guitar.
Right.
Yeah. So, which is kind of strange now, isn't it? You think, you're selling the guitar of your real big hero, because he was, I would have put him then above Eddie.
Yeah.
But then, you sort of, hang on, you balance yourself out. I mean, I think I've said this to you before as well. I probably had the Music Man guitar more, maybe slightly more, because Dweezer was playing one.
Right.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, but there's a lot of connection there which people might not be aware of with the Confessions album, isn't there?
100%, mate.
Yeah.
I love that album. We spoke about it before.
Yeah, because I've got the original. Oh, we're digressing now already. I've got the original release of that album.
Okay.
But Dweezil's remastered it.
Right.
And it is a good remaster. I've said to you before about a lot of remasters, they just crank the level up. Mm-hmm. But it is a good remaster.
Ooh,
so I think if you listen to it now I use Apple Music. I'm sure that's the only version on there now. I might be wrong. But yeah.
So you was into Extreme before More Than Words came out?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I was looking. This is nuts, actually. I was just looking on Spotify because it shows you the numbers, the streams. So when it hits a certain amount.
Yeah.
I've just got Porno Graffiti up here now. So Decadence Dance, 3.5 million streams. Get the Funk Out, close to 14.5 million streams.
Wow. Yeah.
They go to More Than Words.
Yeah.
550 million streams.
But you can't. So let's just.
God.
So I've written a few things when you first got into them, and then More Than Words ? You can't turn that sort of thing down as a band on the way up, can you? Doesn't matter that it's completely unrepresentative of your output.
I'm sure we've said this before on this podcast, but if that song was released in the 70s, it'd be classed as one of the all-time greatest songs of all time. It'd be... Yeah. People will say you're a fucking idiot, but it'd be up there with your Stairway to Heavens and your Sweet Home Alabamas, your Free Birds.
I agree 100%.
It would be up there.
Yeah.
Fantastic song and totally different to anything that was around at the time.
Yeah. So I know. I think Porno Graffiti is about a couple of million certified in America, probably, and probably more than that now.
Oh God, I can have a look.
Well, tell me because I think if you look on Wikipedia, it still says 2 times platinum, but it must be more than that now.
Let's have a look where it says.
But I mean,
it just says 2 times platinum. No, I would have thought it'd been a lot more than that.
Yeah, that song sold that album, didn't it?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Wholehearted was a big hit
as
well.
Yes, it was. Yeah. I mean,
interesting. I don't know if you know this.
What?
Wholehearted's not on the vinyl version of the
album.
album.
I didn't know that. Oh right, they chopped it, did they?
Yeah, it must have not fit on
with the time. Yeah, I like that song. Yeah. I mean, so the other interesting thing is, would a band be able? I nearly said allowed, but it probably is allowed in this day and age, seeing as how everything's so over-controlled by idiots. But would a band like them be allowed to release a single now, just vocal and acoustic guitar? I don't think they would. Because you think about Ed Sheeran, but all his most of his songs that are biggish hits, at some point have got more instrumentation on.
Yeah.
And I think the great thing about that song is that it's just vocal and guitar all the way through.
There's no... I wonder if there was any discussion, like, do we bring the drums in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
At some point, second verse. Yeah, it just wouldn't have worked. It would have killed it completely.
Yeah. So respect to him for that.
Yeah, I've said this to you before. I would keep constantly repeating myself. You know, I'm a fan of Damien Rice. You know, the singer-songwriter, Cannonball guy. God, that's patronising him, isn't it? But you know what I mean. People who know it is now. When he put that song out first, it was exactly the same. Just him and the vocal, him and the guitar. There's a subsequent version that the label must have insisted on doing that's got his drums on it and everything. It absolutely murders it.
Right.
It kills the vibe completely. I mean, can you imagine in the 70s? I've been buying up all the Neil Young bootlegs that he does now. So live at Carnegie Hall, live in New York, just him and sing and the guitar. And you think when Neil Young put like out Old Man or whatever, and if they'd have said, "Oh, I think what he just needs, Neil, is some drums there," just to he'd have clonked him one. He just wouldn't have done it. So I think, does it show the power that they must have had, that they could say, "We're just putting this out as a single like that"? I know it's not uncommon to put a ballad out, but think of a Winger ballad or a Poison ballad,
I think,
or a Heart ballad, and then think of that. It's not necessarily. It's more like a folk song.
I think it was almost. I think it might have been. I don't know. I'm probably talking out loud. I think it was probably desperation on the record company's part at that point, because they'd done Decadence Dance, they'd done Get the Funk Out.
Yeah,
they probably weren't shifting many albums. So, and this was peak power ballad time, as you said.
That's true. Yeah.
This 1990, 1991 was peak power ballad. That's when like Firehouse was in the, not necessarily in the UK, but in America, Firehouse and Warrant were like ruling the charts. It was probably desperation on the label's part. There was like, right, we need a ballad. This is the ballad on the album. Chuck it out. Saying that because there's Song for Love at the end. It's probably a bit more power ballady, actually.
So that goes back to what you said about the Gary's not got blonde hair. After that first album, they don't look like a hair metal band, do they?
No.
I think that's why I liked them so much, you know.
Yeah.
Because maybe as I started to come out. So for me, as I started to come out, we've talked about this on a standalone episode. And as I came out of that and got into the Seattle stuff, I kept going with Extreme.
Yeah.
Because to me, we both just missed the first album, they probably never looked like a hair metal band to us, did they?
Right. Except Pat.
Well, except Pat, all right. But
like Paul Geary on drums. It's like
he looks like a geography teacher.
A handsome geography teacher. But
exactly. But I used to think he's the odd one out with his short hair. I don't really understand it. You know?
Yeah, it was. It was like weird.
Yeah. Didn't he go on to be the manager? Well, or was he? Or he managed somebody else, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he's big time manager. He did like Steel Panther.
Did it?
But there's a lot of other big bands which he's behind the scenes from.
Yeah.
I probably told you I met him at a Steel Panther gig.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, it's Paul Geary. I'm not bothered about anybody else. It's Paul Geary from Extreme.
So, I mean, I think to me, because I've taught More Than Words to a few people
brilliant.
Of varying ages, mostly at my suggestion, but in a couple of cases not.
How is it? I would imagine that's quite a because it is like GCD with the odd bits and bobs.
It's G/B, C add 9, D, E minor 7, D F.
But what a way to take something which was overly used a million times, and you know that song as soon as you play those first few notes.
You could play the chords and make it sound like an Ed Sheeran song.
Yeah.
Right? But Nuno does something with his right hand with the finger picking, that makes it sound far more complicated than it actually is.
Yeah, well, on that,
far more interesting.
when you get in that, I don't know if you've seen it on that Rick Beato interview, he talks about the tapping which he does on it as well.
Yeah.
And he plays it without the tapping, and it sounds totally different as well.
Yeah, it needs that boom. Yeah, it needs the rhythmic element to make it interesting. One of my students that did it, he was on holiday somewhere, and in the hotel, the entertainment was a guy playing acoustic guitar, and he played more than words in his set. And my student watched him, and he even did the tapping bit at the end of the extended version.
Yeah.
But Simon said, but my student, I shouldn't have said his name, should I? It could be Bart. It could be Ian. Yeah. Anyway, right. My student said that this guy had not got the rhythm.
Oh wow!
He hadn't got the rhythm down. He could do the tapping.
He could do that's crazy to me.
Yeah, but you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed how many people find the rhythm of something harder than the actual playing of something.
Nuno talks about that. I now keep going back to this video, but he talks about that. They talk about why, we'll get onto it later, but the solo for the single Rise off this new album.
Yeah. Oh, it's getting, people are saying it's crazy.
Why has it clicked so much with people? And one of Nuno's reasons is we'd been starved of not necessarily what he's doing, but the fact that we were seeing the visual of it, somebody ripping it in I know it's not live, it's in a video, but we've been starved of seeing somebody in like a Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
We've been watching YouTube videos of everything so technically precise. People sat down, and
boring
then you see this
shit.
Then you see this guy up on stage ripping, meaning it. And it's like, wow.
You know what, Bob? I'm just gonna say this now, that a lot of I can completely understand that. A lot of the people that post on Instagram, well, there's the whole Instagram comparison game, which I just don't want to go in for anymore. You post a video and you wait to see how many likes you get, and you think, why am I not getting as many likes as it? And there are people on there that could play me off the court, but then as you see other people, you think, God, how have they got 400,000 views or something?
It's all about these little reels though, and clips of
terrible
20 seconds.
But a lot of these people aren't. It's just there's no soul, there's no vibe to it, and so Nuno comes along with that solo. Yeah, he's technically one of the most proficient guitarists out there, but he's not showing you that. He's showing you the vibe.
Yeah,
and that he can do it in a cool song.
Yeah, that's what's clicked.
Yeah.
He says there's millions of guitar players who could play him off the face of the planet.
Wow.
And he says,
I wouldn't say millions.
Yeah, well. He says, I follow most of them on Instagram. He says, I watch them all the time.
Yeah.
But it's so rigid, and it just sounds like a frigging maths problem being played. Just to me as well.
A lot of the modern guitar playing, some of my students say, I'm not going to say the bands. I can slag Ed Sheeran off, but I'm not slagging these other bands, because they are great musicians, but there's a lot of them. It's too precise, it's anodyne, it's clinical. And Nuno says, hang on a minute, it is my technicality, but I'll raise you up 2 or 3 levels just with the
it's that X factor. It's just the friggin'...
And you know the other thing, Bob, is, while we're talking about guitar playing, the other thing, so an interesting thing that's happened, since, that I like an effects pedal, right? But in the last few years, I've just sat down and looked at my pedal and thought, what are you doing? You buy these pedals.
Come to our side, mate.
You can have. I tell you what, I've seen some pretty big bass guitar, bass player pedal boards. You think, why have I got? I'm not turning that on, and I can only use that for one song or one sound. Even when I'm doing looping stuff, I don't. So what's happened a lot is, since the boutique pedal boom, Instagram's full of people playing pedals. They're not playing guitar. They're playing. Right. They've got like 25 pedals on a board, and they're playing the pedal board.
Okay.
They're not playing the guitar. To me, anyway. I might be. Some people will say I'm an old git and I'm talking crap, but it's a fact. No, I think I've got a lot of experience now, like you have, and I just think, I watch these guys, and they've got like a £400 distortion pedal, and they've got a £400 delay pedal, and then they've got something that does a crazy reverb with like sounds like angels singing on the tail
Yeah.
of it. What are you going to use that for? Other than, you know, they end up playing the pedals, not playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I do a lot of looping stuff, but again,
Looping's justified because you obviously need that to.
you do
to make
sometimes,
that
but
work,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think you get by doing doing looping stuff. I've got by with a distortion, a reverb, and a delay, and that's
Yeah.
all you need. Because I still try and do it as like something that's a bit like a song, you know.
The way I think of it is from a live point of view.
Yeah.
In a live situation, because the way I looked at it, at the end of the day, you're at the mercy of the sound man anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And like, I'm going to say this to you. You know Porcupine Tree?
Yeah.
Stephen Wilson. I think it was him. He does a lot. He almost sees himself as a sound designer, right? And I get what he means. But I'll link this back to Nuno. There is a point to all this. I think it was him, or it might have been at the time Guthrie Govan who was playing with him, that when you're playing a gig, no matter whether it's a 200 person club or a 5,000 seat arena, and that's probably even more so, no one knows that your delay pedal costs 500 quid.
No.
Because everything's echoing so much anyway. No one knows whether it's a £100 Boss pedal or it's a £500 expensive brand.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm making this long and convoluted point and criticising a lot of people, right, is that interestingly, Nuno is making a point at the moment that he'd plug straight in.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, he's used a wah. He used to use a Boss something. I got pictures I got out the other day. He used to have a wah pedal, and he'd use a Boss multi-effects unit that he'd probably buy for 200 quid. But all he needed was the reverb and delay and a bit of chorus off it. And I think he uses a rat, a rat distortion.
He talks about that a lot in the.
So I think these days all
interview.
he uses is the rat, and maybe a bit of wah, and that's it. Now I found that quite interesting for a couple of reasons, but one's just occurred to me. So let's just skip over 3 sides a minute. Waiting for the punchline. You don't like that album, do you?
No,
you don't like the sound of it.
No.
Nuno's hardly using any effects, very dry, straight into the amp. And that's my favourite album.
Yeah. It's one I think now, from a bass playing point of view, because I never appreciated, when I got playing bass, I just thought Pat Badger was cool. That's all. Look cool.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
But now, I've been going back on some stuff even this morning, and I pulled up Waiting for the Punchline, and he's just phenomenal.
Because what a lot of people don't appreciate is that he plays most of the riffs with Nuno.
Yeah. I never knew that until years later.
Yeah. And he's doing some interesting stuff because they've got that Van Halen idea of when Eddie took a solo, there was not a lot of the songs, have they? Have got a rhythm overdub.
No.
Pat's filling in all them spaces.
Yeah.
So I think he's so underrated.
Yeah. I listened to No Respect before we came on.
Yeah. Well, my favourite song on that is Cynical, that riff.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to play. Not because it's not that fast. It's just the rhythm and the way that Nuno gets all these notes to fit.
Okay.
That's. I just love that album. But I've said to you before, a lot of the albums that I like have got that quite dry.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I love the sound of the first 2 albums, because they had that big sound I was listening to at the time.
Yeah. So, how many times have you seen them then, Bob? I know we've talked about the gigs we've seen them. You showed me your scrapbook on a previous one.
I don't know if I can rattle them off the top of my head. Let's see if I can do it.
Go on then.
Rock City.
Yeah.
Nottingham Concert Hall.
Yeah.
NEC. That was the first time, so that's 3. Then they came. So I'm twice on 3 sides.
Yeah.
Saw them at Donington. Saw them at Rock City. Saw them when they came back for the Sordade de Rock thing.
Oh, you've seen them on that, have you?
Yeah. And the Pornography tour.
Right.
So I think that's it. So
about
9.
6 or 7.
9.
9, right. Yeah, well, I can't beat that. I think I've only done the 3.
Okay. Go on then. I know Concert Hall's there.
Concert Hall and Rock City. Both those two that we were both at, and then
which Rock City one was you at? The Wait for the Punchline one.
Which one would that have been then?
They played. First time they played Rock City is when they found out More Than Words had gone to number 1 in America.
No, it wasn't then. It was after that.
Okay, so it would be the Wait for the Punchline.
Yeah, it would have been.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because that's right. So
can you remember who spotted him on that tour?
No, got no idea. We know the famous King of the Hill story at the concert hall, and then I saw them on the Three Sides tour at the NEC.
Yes.
Is that the one you did that one as well? Yeah. Didn't they have some sort of thing?
Yeah, like
behind the stage.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, like loads of different levels.
It's like a house, was it supposed to be? Or
something like that. I wonder if there's any video footage of that. Anyway.
Yeah. Now you see, going back to the Washburn guitars, that was when Nuno started using the, I'm never sure how you say it, Paduke or the dark red coloured one.
Oh yeah. He used that in the Rest in Peace video.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he started using it at Three Sides. I desperately wanted that guitar. Oh, so desperately. But the cool thing, again, I'm going on about that, they were really hard to get.
Right.
There's not, I mean, you can still buy an M4. He did a new one not long ago that he called, he nicknamed it Nelly. What was the number after it? N, can't remember. I'll put a picture up. It looked like a Telecaster. But I've noticed he's not using that now. He's gone back to his M4s.
Yeah. What did he use on the first album? They had that weird shaped one. Because I always remember on the, we could talk about it a little bit if you want, on the Freddie Mercury tribute show, Pat brought out his bass. He plays it on the Radio Gaga bit.
Yeah.
He's got that really weird shaped, like as futuristic of a guitar as you can get, really trippy
you've reminded me of that. I can't think now. I'll have a look and put a picture up. Oh,
yeah.
God.
But yeah, Pat brought one out for that Freddie Mercury gig.
He did.
And I can remember reading something in an interview about it just prior.
But like I say, I'm pretty certain Nuno's first guitar that came, not first guitar, but the guitar that came before the proper M4 was like a Warmouth or something body that he'd cut down. Did he have a Kramer? Can't remember.
I've got a feeling it's something it's like a Boston company or something that made guitars.
Might be. I know what you mean.
Quick question: what do you think of that first Extreme album?
I've not listened to it for years.
Yeah. Again, Gary's subject matter is really weird.
Yeah, it is. We've talked about that. Yeah. Play With Me, Kid Ego. I mean, I remember
Little Girls.
Yeah.
Teacher's Pet.
Yeah. Kid Ego was the
Mother,
first...
I don't want to go to school today.
I'd go to school. Yeah. Kid Ego was the first song that I heard off that album.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I heard Porno Graffiti first.
Yes. Interestingly, have you seen the video, the early video for Mother, where it's just Gary?
Maybe.
It's all different players.
All right. I'll have to search that out.
Yeah. I don't know if it's when they was called The Dream or I'm not sure, but there's a version of Mother.
Yeah. So we've got to agree with Nuno that he isn't the new Eddie because there can't be one.
Right.
Haven't we?
Yeah. It's a weird one. I can see why it's said.
You wouldn't want that on your shoulders, would
No, definitely not.
Let's be honest, Wolfgang's got enough on his shoulders already having it, so, and he's, by his own admission, never going to be exactly like his dad, so why should Nuno take it on?
Yeah. But we do need a guitar hero, so if Nuno steps up to that plate, then that's fine with me.
Yeah. But you see, there are other... These modern heroes, as we've just talked, for the reasons I've just ranted about, aren't going to be a patch on Nuno.
Can people listening hear that noise?
It's our water. It's our. Someone's in the bath. I'm not going to say who. It'll stop in a minute. I mean, a lot of the modern guitar heroes just leave me cold for the reasons we've just discussed.
Yeah.
So maybe we do, and hopefully, let's hope that he inspires.
But it's quite exciting, really, because a lot of people. Another thing, going back to the first album, I was mentioning about Spotify streams.
Yeah.
If you go on Spotify and let's see if I can find it again quicker. The first album, just called Extreme from 1989.
Yeah.
One of the worst album covers of all time.
Yeah. Terrible.
But if you go down the plays on that one, like Little Girl's 650, very few have broken 1 million streams. Kid Ego's got 1.5 million.
Right.
Mother has got 1.2 million. But if you scroll down right to the end to Play With Me, 18 million streams.
Wow.
But that had a bit of a resurgence a few years ago, I think. Right. There was like an online guitar challenge where people had edited Bill and Ted's, and I think Nuno did something, got people to play it.
So what did you think about... Can you remember what you thought about Three Sides after Porno Graffiti?
You know what? This is even weirder to me now, thinking back. For everything that I'm into and stuff I've said about like waiting for the punchline and stuff like that, I adored it.
Yeah.
110%. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Which is strange for me because it came out at the same time as Warrant's album Dog Eat Dog.
Right.
Which is heralded as the best Warrant album. Arguably, it is. I'd say Cherry Pie, but arguably Dog Eat Dog is the best album. And I really did not like that album.
Yeah.
I appreciate it now. But yeah, Three Sides, I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
But again, it's got, and it sounds weird coming from me because we've talked about like, I'm not a fan of the dry production.
Yeah.
That has it in droves, I think. It's edging
more. It's not as dry as...
it's not as dry as Waiting for the Punchline, but compared to Porno Graffiti.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I know that, the opening riff to Warheads, I actually worked that one. I can remember I worked that one out myself, without needing the book. I used to sit and play that for ages. I think us doing this now has made me realise, I mean, I'll never ever be able to play like him, but what an influence on me, not necessarily in my songwriting and that, but just as a player, what he could aspire to. But if I think about that intro riff to Warheads, it's actually quite simple.
Okay.
And I think something in that made me think, well, I'm trying to overcomplicate this. I've been listening to too much Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. Look at that riff. It's just semitone, semitone, da-da-da, semitone. I can visualise how you play it now.
I was always disappointed on that. They had so much control over that album.
Yeah.
Because More Than Words was huge. They could pretty much do whatever they wanted. I think they've said that. I'm so disappointed they didn't release it on a proper vinyl. At least 2 vinyl records. You got side 1, side 2, side 3, and maybe do like etch vinyl on the 4th side. They just did like I think they just did like a single vinyl release where side 2. I can do the speech marks on this because if no one's familiar, it's called Three Sides to Every Story. The album is technically split into 3 sides. There you go.
Bits,
Yours, mine, and the truth, which I always use that term today. Everyone says, oh, there's 2 sides to every story. But no, Extreme taught me that there's 3 sides, yours, mine, and the truth. I was always disappointed because if you get the vinyl, I think Top brought the vinyl version of it. And it like, side 1 is all of side 1, then half of side 2, then you have to turn it over. It's weird. Right.
But you see, there wasn't the same... So you're talking about the vinyl release at the original time, but I mean, vinyl was like a non-entity at that point, wasn't it? They weren't really bothered about it. Like,
I guess.
Like cool,
but it just seems such a shame.
Yeah. I actually like the 3rd side. I know some people say it's a bit, but...
it's great.
Yeah. Rise and Shine, I love that.
They still play I'm Ever Gonna Change, don't they, now? And the way, if I remember right, all the 3 songs come together at the end, don't they?
Yeah.
They all kind of mashes together. Brilliant. Brilliant.
So Waiting for the Punchline, I already mentioned it. I mean, like I say, I love the rawness of this. Like I've mentioned, Black John Mellencamp album, Whenever We Wanted, that got me into him, that made me discover the guitarist David Grissom. That's completely dry, bone dry. Or like Californication, when the Chili Peppers came back, very dry. I even think, I'm not sure if they certainly recorded, I think, by the way, in mono. I'm not sure if Californication was recorded like in mono, so to speak.
Okay.
But that's very dry. The difference, like after Pearl Jam 10 came out, to then Versus and then Vitology, which is not ultra dry like this is, but again, I just much prefer the movement forward of... So coming out of hair metal and Poison and all that, I know you can still have the production, but looking back now, the amount of reverb on some of those records,
right?
It's just insane, isn't it? It's just insane. And so I just love the sound of this album.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nuno discovered this little Fender, brown Fender amp, Vibra-Verb or Vibra-Lux, can't remember which one it is. And it had got tremolo built into it, like a lot of those Fender Tweedy type amps did.
Okay.
And that's where the sound of There Is No God, the first track, came from. Because
Right.
you just plugged into the amp, turned the trem on, and there's the song.
Yeah.
Which is why you get a new piece of gear, because it very often inspires you
Yeah.
to write something new. But he just cranked that to hell. And with the powerful pickups in his guitar, it just gave him all the overdrive. And the sound, there's just like there's a beefiness to it, and there's a really nice top end.
Nice.
So it's interesting that Fender amp is almost making his. I don't know whether he could split the pickups on the M4 or not, but it's almost making his humbucker guitar sound a bit more Fendery, a bit more Stratty. Right. I just think it's such a fantastic sound, and like I say, that riff to Cynical.
I'm going to revisit it.
Yeah, I think you need to listen to it with like fresh ears almost.
Yeah.
And this has got that track Unconditionally on it.
Right.
Which has got a lot in common with Nuno's solo album, I think.
Okay.
I think the songwriting on that, it sounds like it could have come off, what's it? Schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you need to sort of
go back
listen
to
it. Yeah. So,
did you get the Sword to Rock album?
No, I was just going to say go on to that, because I is it Star?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that song, but I don't know why I didn't buy it.
Yeah, it's got some good stuff on it, mate.
Right,
It's got
I'll have to get it. Yeah.
Terrible artwork. I hate
Yeah, is that
artwork.
the
It's the one with the silhouettes.
Yeah,
like really dodgy silhouettes, which look like something you do in your first band. But it's got this really cool extreme, like big, this like E logo. If they just had that on the cover, that'd be wicked. But they do these like really dodgy silhouettes.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't even look like Pat. Looks like some clip art.
Yeah, because would we call that a soft release? It didn't. Did it really get into the consciousness of people that much?
I don't know. I mean, I knew about it, and I wasn't really listening to that stuff at the time.
I know I knew about it. I just never bought it.
Yeah.
But we're fans. I don't know whether. Do you think a lot of bands who've done a few albums have an album that people forget about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one for me. Yeah. And then I suppose so moving forward to this newest album, which I'm hoping should arrive today, the day of recording. I'm waiting, it's on its way. I'm one of these strange people. I could have listened to it this morning. I didn't have a lot of time, but I like to wait. If I've got the CD coming, I'm waiting till I listen to the CD and open it up and everything.
I'm just glad, regardless of what anyone thinks of this album, when I saw the Rise video, and then especially when they followed it with the two Rebel and Banshee at the same time, I was just chuffed to bits. Just being a fan of, I don't want to say this genre of music, because Extremists, even though they're associated with bands like Poison and Warrant, they're running a different path. But I'm so pleased, and I'm going to say proud, that a band from that time is putting out something where they truly give a shit about.
Yeah,
you could tell it in the quality of the songs, whether they're as good as they was before or whatever. The passion is there, just the attention to detail, and the videos. It's great quality videos, and they're still cool as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Rebel. I think that's a really good song. I like Rise, except when I first listened to it, it sounds like a Stone Temple Pilots song until the chorus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought, I can't be the only person who thinks that. So I went through the YouTube comments. I found someone, he's saying the same thing as me.
It's either like Stone Temple Pilots or Velvet Revolver.
Yeah. But I feel like Rebel was more them.
Yeah.
But it's I'm excited to listen to the rest of it. Have you got tickets yet?
I've got tickets to see him in Manchester.
You're going to Manchester, right?
Yeah.
They're playing Wolverhampton, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the night before or the night after.
Right.
Either I'll talk boring geography, but both of those places are a dog for us to get to.
Yeah.
Over here.
Manchester especially.
Well, I think both of them are. I've been to Wolverhampton a few times, and it's a horrible drive.
American people say think nothing of driving
it's not about the distance. It's just a horrible drive.
Going to Manchester, it doesn't seem that far when you look how far it is, do you? It's the actual time, it's the time it takes.
I just want. I don't know, but I'm going to see him in Manchester. I'm super excited.
Who's supporting?
A Living Colour.
Oh, of course they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was of course they are. Yeah, well I might have a look at the Wolverhampton.
You got to go, man. You got to go.
Yeah, I might look at the
Wolverhampton. It's
going
to be wicked. I mean, Nuno's busted his knee, the silly twat.
I know he has. Yeah. Well, that's been an ongoing thing for years, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he said in where he did his apology, he says, "I'm going to strap on the brace."
Yeah. Because I remember when I saw a picture of him first wearing that, I thought, "What is that?" how did he originally do it?
I don't know, mate. Don't know.
I've got a feeling it was a sporting injury, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. It's going to be wicked, man. They're still at the top of the game. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Quickly, Freddie Mercury concert. What?
Oh yeah.
Did you watch it live?
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I've just said I'm so proud. I'm so proud of a band from that time. I was so proud of them on that day.
They were so good.
Everybody was in. Oh, Metallica are playing. Oh, Guns N' Roses are playing.
Yeah.
And Extreme came on. I was like, first Brian May gave them that intro, which totally justified them being there that day.
Yeah.
Metallica had gone on before, all dressed in black.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. It was a boring set. They played the hits, but it was a boring set.
Yeah.
Then Extreme just came on and just frigging slayed.
Yeah. I recorded it off the telly. I couldn't tell you how many times I've watched it.
Yeah. It was unreal.
Yeah. Hey, and be honest with me, how jealous were you when Nuno married Suze? Of her. No, of him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Are they still going, Baby Animals?
I'm not sure. I did look a while ago.
I totally forgot all about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she was still doing something with some of the members. I'm not sure. The other thing I'd say, and I've mentioned them before, is that people should check out Nuno's stuff with the Mourning Widows.
Yeah.
I mentioned those on a previous video we did.
Did you ever listen to the Tribe of Judah stuff? What Gary did?
No, I didn't. No,
I got that album.
I'm aware of it. Yeah,
and I got Pat's 2 solo albums as well.
Oh right,
which are really frigging good.
Oh, they?
Yeah, they're well worth checking.
Yeah. No, the Mourning Widow stuff is the second one. I think it is really quite well. What I think was heavy, but as soon as Nuno starts singing, it just gives it a certain feel that completely takes it away from if there'd been someone like grunting over the top of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I tell you something, Nuno is singing a lot on this new album, mate.
Right.
Yeah. Because Nuno says like, "Oh, this is Gary's album." It's like this really is Gary's album. But I listened to it earlier. I was like, "Wow." Nuno's like, I mean, it's always been cool when they do that that response thing with each other and stuff like that. But Nuno's all over this one, mate.
So,
really
so
cool.
to wrap things up a bit then, so if we were advising, if someone was coming to them other than knowing more than words, are we telling them to jump in at Porno Graffiti or Three Sides?
They're going to be confused as hell, however.
Yeah, because they are very different.
You know, I'd say go on YouTube and just watch some videos. Yeah. I think that'd give you a better feel of the band.
Just don't watch any from the first album straight away.
Well, I don't know. They're quite cool performance videos. I mean, Wholehearted's still one of my favourite videos. I love that video.
Yeah. So I think we've stumbled across something interesting there. That apart from a very brief period, because I'm right, aren't I? Extreme came out in '89, Porno Graffiti in '90. Mm-hmm. So to me, I know they started in '85, but they were a hair metal band for a very short time.
Yeah.
And then they just became a hard rock band, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I suppose really they've got to jump in at Porno Graffiti, haven't they?
Yeah.
Really.
But even then, you're gonna get like when I first kissed you and all that kind of stuff. You're gonna think, what the hell is this?
Yeah, but the good thing again though is if some young teenager, because believe you me, I hate all this crap about Rocky's dead and all that. Something really annoyed me the other week. Something else. Right? You know when Jeff Beck died?
Right.
I mean, I'm no big fan of Jeff Beck. I completely admired him as a guitar player. But there was a Rolling Stone article, and the headline said, something along the lines of the last great. Oh, sorry, one of the last great guitarists of the rock era has died, implying that the rock
Rolling
era.
Stone's full of shit.
I know it
comes
is,
to that
but it still winds me up.
No offense to Jeff Beck. Most people had not listened to Jeff Beck in years.
No, of course they hadn't. No, he's a guitar player. He's a guitar player. He's like it. Yeah, but just that the clickbaitness of the last one of the last great heroes of the rock era. Like the rock era's finished. You know, I mean,
full of shit.
On the same time that I've got students saying, "Can we learn to play Stairway to Heaven?" I've got like teenage students want to learn some, like, what's that band that's Polyphia.
Oh yeah,
I can never
yeah.
say it. God, that is. I mean, again, it leaves me completely.
Are they
cold.
the ones that wear all the sweaters?
Yeah, it leaves me
that's crazy.
Completely cold, but it is very technically, very impressive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, stuff like that.
You best get learning the Rise solo, mate. It'll be like, show me that end bit of Rise.
Yeah, go on then. There's our challenge. Yeah. But so yeah, thinking about doing this, I can think of one student that would probably be more than happy to learn a Porno Graffiti song. So I'll have to.
I will say, Get the Funk Out solo is in the top 5 guitar solos of all time.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see, sorry, we'll definitely wind up in a minute, but just thinking back as a guitar playing point of view, some of my guitar heroes, if we want to use that term, Nuno, and I would say Paul Gilbert, Dweezil to some degree, obviously Eddie, but he's a bit older. But thinking of ones that aren't a million miles away from our sort of age, how much I still admire him now.
Yeah,
and I might
and
not
I can be really smug on that one because people take the piss out of our favourite music.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, we were fucking right.
Yeah, I mean,
even Poison.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
people are saying took the piss out of them all the years. They're the band that slayed on that recent stadium tour. We were frigging right.
Yeah, Richie Kotzen.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Gilbert, technically insane.
Yeah.
Him and Nuno, quite different players in a lot of ways. Because I wouldn't say Nuno's a shredder.
No.
I wouldn't put him down as a shredder.
No.
But Paul Gilbert was a shredder. He's not now. But I tell you what they've got in common. Those two, they seem such nice blokes.
Yeah. There's the character in there, and that's always what I bought into as much as the players.
Because you want to follow them and you want to think, oh, if I met him, we could have a beer. And
I'm interested in what he's got to say.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Well, I need to go and actually watch, other than the first couple of minutes, that Rick Beato interview because it keeps coming up on my
get it on. You'll love
front
it, mate.
page.
It's fantastic.
Cool. Right. Well, hopefully we've done them justice there, and we've both not just fanboyed over Nuno for an hour or whatever. Right. Well, let's try and not leave it 5 months till we do the next one.
All right. Whose album's coming out next?
Yeah, it's a good idea. This is, we should have thought of it before.
Yeah.
Hey, just very, very finally, quickly, have you listened to any of the new Foo Fighters tracks?
I haven't actually. No.
It's not just the sympathy vote. It is really good.
Okay.
And I know that I'm biased because I'm a massive fan, but it is really, really good.
Hey, Chris Shiflett's got a new series coming out talking
I know
to
he has.
guitar players.
He's got Mike McCready on.
Yeah. There you go.
I've kept. He signposted it a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, where is it? It's not coming up. Where's this? There's this thing. What he said. What questions would you like me to ask Mike McCready? Where is it then? Where is? So they've just. It's coming out very soon, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But
shredding with Shifty into it or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's got a few players on that I like, but yeah, it give it a chance, mate. It is. The lyrics are really good without. I mean, Dave Grohl's not Bob Dylan, but he's just laid it all out there.
Wicked.
Yeah.
I'll give it a listen.
Yeah, there's no need for the sympathy vote. It is genuinely really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Right, cool. So I shall look. I know what I'm doing this evening. Hopefully my CD will come not too late. I have to go to bed early these days. So. And I can have a listen. Cool. All right, mate. See you later.
Take it easy.
See you. Bye.